Welcome to the Ticker Deep Dive. Today we are diving headfirst into a revolution. And it's happening, far away from the usual Silicon Valley server rooms, but it's just as disruptive. We're talking about the agricultural technology revolution, Agritech.
Right.
And the question that really kicks off all our source material today is pretty profound. It's how would your farming operation change if your machinery could think for itself?
Yeah.
I mean, we are talking about a transformation that is moving faster than at any point in modern farming history. It's the shift from the mechanical age to the autonomous age.
And this deep dive is so essential because we're looking at how Agritech is trying to solve really humanity's most critical challenge, feeding a global population that's projected to hit, almost 10 billion people by 2050?
10 billion.
And that necessity, that absolute need for more productivity, that's exactly why this entire sector creates such a massive and durable investment opportunity.
Okay, so let's put a number on that opportunity right away.
Let's do it. The global agritech market right now is valued at about $8.15 billion in 2024. But, and this is the key number, our sources project, it's set to just explode to $34.83 billion by 2034.
That is a projected compound annual growth rate of 15.3%. That's massive, especially when you think about how slow-moving agriculture has traditionally been.
It's huge.
So what's the structural reason here? What makes this growth so durable and, highly likely rather than just some cyclical surge we see when commodity prices are high?
Well, the durability, it really comes down to the fact that this isn't just about a temporary trend or some new big equipment.
Right.
It's a fundamental restructuring of the entire industry. And it's driven by the convergence of four, non-negotiable global forces. That 15.3% CAGR is simply the market responding to an existential crisis.
And institutional money sees it too.
No, absolutely. The institutional interest confirms this. Venture capital investment hit $29.6 billion in 2023. That signals that, the smart money views this as one of the longest duration growth trends in the entire global economy.
So let's drill down on those drivers, this perfect storm of opportunity you mentioned.
Okay, so the first one is what the sources call the demographic imperative. We're soaring toward 9.7 billion people by 2050.
Right.
But here's the crucial and kind of painful fact. The world's arable land is not expanding.
It's actually shrinking.
Exactly. Due to urbanization, climate impacts, soil degradation, the amount of productive land per person is shrinking. So the logic is just inescapable. Agriculture has to produce dramatically more with less.
And traditional farming just can't do that.
It can't close that gap, no. And then complicating that mission is the second driver, climate volatility.
Yeah, this is a big one. I mean, farmers today are not dealing with the same weather patterns their parents or grandparents did.
Not even close. Unpredictable weather, water scarcity. That's the new operational reality. And technology, what it does is it shifts farming from being reactive, where you plant and hope for the best.
Oh, for rain.
To predictive, where you use data to optimize every single decision, when to water, where to put nutrients. And in commodity agriculture, where margins are just razor thin, those small gains matter immensely.
A few percent can be everything.
Our sources stress this again and again. A 5-10% yield increase, or say a 10-15% cut in input costs, can be the literal difference between profit and bankruptcy.
Okay, so the need is undeniable.
Yeah.
But usually a market this big needs a policy push to really get going. That must be driver 3, government support.
That's the policy tailwind, exactly.
Yeah.
Food security and agricultural productivity are now seen as national security issues.
So not just economic sectors anymore.
Right. So we're seeing strong policy support in the U.S., the EU, Japan, India. It comes in the form of subsidies, tax incentives, direct R&D funding. The EU's digital agriculture missions, for example, are just injecting capital to help digitize farming.
Which lowers the risk for the farmer to adopt the tech.
Precisely. And that brings us to the fourth driver, maybe the most powerful one, labor dynamics. We are seeing acute labor shortages everywhere.
This one feels existential.
It is. Young people are leaving farms, migratory labor is tightening. So mechanization and autonomy, they're not luxuries anymore. They are necessary for a farm to even be viable.
So it's not a choice between tech and a person anymore.
Not always. I mean, think about a berry farmer. They aren't comparing the cost of a harvesting robot to a human crew. They're comparing it to the cost of having no viable way to get their crop picked before it rocks on the vine.
That's a powerful incentive.
A very powerful incentive.
Okay, so we've covered the macro drivers, this perfect storm of necessity. Let's get into the what. Let's break down the agritech market into its key growth segments, starting with the foundation, precision farming.
Right. Precision farming and guidance systems. This is the groundwork for everything else. We're talking GPS-guided tractors, sensors, variable rate application systems, and AGCO's new PTX platform is a brilliant case study here.
AGCO is targeting a huge number, $2 billion in precision ag net sales by 2029. That's up from about $850 million now. But what makes their strategy with PTX and buying Trimble's business so important beyond just the dollar figure?
It's this idea of being the mixed fleet leader.
Okay, what does that mean?
Well, most big farms run equipment from different brands, some John Deere Green, some Case IH Red. By buying Trimble, AGCO is positioning PTX to be the operating system, like the Android, for precision ag.
So it works on any color tractor.
Exactly. It connects everything, aggregates the data, provides guidance no matter the make or model. And that is a huge strategic moat because it solves the farmer's biggest headache, interoperability, and lets AGCO collect the most data.
That's smart. And that naturally shifts us from just guided equipment to fully autonomous equipment, the robotics.
This is where the machinery can truly think for itself, operate 24/7. And John Deere's announcements, especially getting full autonomy on their big 9 Series tractors, that just highlights how fast this is moving.
And these aren't just novelties. They're generating huge productivity gains. The field evidence is showing gains of, what, 15 to 20%?
Yeah, and that's a combination of things. First, you eliminate operator fatigue. The machine can run around the clock, maybe increasing operational hours by 40% during planting season.
Wow.
Second, you eliminate human variability. An autonomous sprayer puts down fertilizer with centimeter-level precision every single time. And that leads directly to higher yields and those input cost reductions we were talking about.
And it's even bigger in specialty crops, right?
Oh, even more staggering. The market for harvesting robotics for things like berries where labor costs are astronomical, that's projected to grow from about $2.24 billion this year to almost $7 billion by 2030. That's a 21% CAGR. Just incredible.
That need for speed and data brings us to the next piece of the puzzle, the sensory input, drones and aerial surveillance. Another massive market, projected to hit $24 billion by 2034.
Drones are the eyes in the sky. Their main job is field monitoring, crop health assessment, and targeted spraying. It means a farmer doesn't have to walk thousands of acres anymore.
And the quality of the data is the key, I assume.
It's everything. Drones with multispectral cameras and AI, they can analyze images and spot disease or pests, often before it's even visible to the human eye. It lets you move from just generalized treatment to surgical intervention.
So if the drones and sensors are the eyes, we have to talk about the brain, agricultural software, and data analytics. For investors, this piece, the nervous system, this is arguably the most high-value segment.
Absolutely. This is the software as a service, the SaaS model applied to farming. Platforms like John Deere's Operations Center or AGCO's new PTX platform, they pull all that data together from tractors, drones, sensors, the weather, and turn it into actual plans.
And what is it about this SaaS model that investors value so highly, especially compared to, just selling a $500,000 tractor?
It's the recurring revenue, the high margins, and most importantly, the customer stickiness.
The lock-in.
Total lock-in. Once a farmer puts years of their own data, their soil maps, yield history into one platform, the cost of switching is just. It's economically painful. So you get this high customer lifetime value, this predictable revenue stream. Investors love that.
Okay, before we get to the risks, let's quickly touch on a parallel segment. Controlled Environment Agriculture, or CEA, indoor farming.
Yeah, it's a huge area of growth, expanding at over 23% CAGR. The global indoor farming market could hit $77 billion by 2030.
And the value proposition there is total control.
Total control. Ultra-high yields, way less water, no pesticides, and you can put the farm right next to a city. The big challenge is still energy costs, but AI-driven climate controls are making the unit economics better every year.
Okay, so let's pivot to the investor view. Opportunities, risks. The bull case seems to come down to one thing, ROI. The sources say adoption just skyrockets once the payback period for these expensive technologies drops below 2 to 3 years.
And the early evidence suggests that for autonomous and AI solutions, that rapid payback is happening, especially when you factor in eliminating skilled labor costs and those 15% input savings.
But we also see huge potential in international expansion. North America's leading now, but Asia-Pacific, especially India, that seems like an incredible frontier for this stuff.
It is, but that raises an important question. With all this momentum, what could possibly derail this growth? We have to look at the counterpoints, the bear case.
Right, starting with economic cyclicality.
Exactly. When farm income is down, like we saw in parts of 2023 and 2024, farmers cut tech spending first. That can really slow down the adoption curve.
And that's compounded by the fact that tractors last a long time.
A very long time, 15, 20 years. So even if a new technology is proven, the huge capital cost to replace a perfectly functional older machine, it just slows everything down. It's a slow churn.
Then you have operational risks. Data, specifically. As farms get totally dependent on software, there are huge concerns around data privacy, who owns that yield data, and cybersecurity.
A ransomware attack on a centralized farm management system, I mean, that could halt an entire season's planting. It's a massive risk.
And what about regulatory concerns? Monopoly risk.
That's a real one. If only one or two companies control all the automation platforms and the data, regulators might have to step in to protect farmers, especially around things like data access and the right to repair.
And finally, there's just execution risk.
Yeah.
I mean, this is hard stuff.
It's incredibly complex, unstructured environments, different soil types. The liability for when an autonomous tractor fails is still kind of an open question. Overhyped expectations could definitely lead to investor disappointment down the road.
So looking at the investment landscape now, it's a diffuse sector. For public market investors, AGCO seems like the most direct play because of their big PTX push.
It is, and analysts see its current valuation as being at a potential 24% discount to its intrinsic value. They're basically pricing it like an old-school heavy machinery business and not giving enough credit to the high-margin tech side.
And those margins are key. Analysts are targeting, 14–15% EBIT margins for AGCO's precision ag business. For heavy machinery, that's a software-like margin.
It really is. It shows the value is in the tech, not just the steel. And we're seeing a similar story in the VC space. Capital is getting more disciplined, focusing on proven AI-enabled tech and weeding out the early moonshots. It's a sign of a maturing sector.
So to bring it all back,
Yeah.
the revolution isn't coming. It's already here. The forces, population, climate, labor make this a durable, almost unavoidable growth trend. That projected $35 billion market by 2034, that represents real economic value being created.
It does. And for investors and for policymakers, the sources highlight one crucial issue to watch as this all accelerates. The technology adoption gap, the gap between the big commercial farms driving this valuation and the vast majority of the world's smallholder farmers, it's getting wider. These smallholders, especially in Asia and Africa, they don't have the capital to adopt autonomous tractors. So the final provocative thought is this. How quickly can we deploy cost-effective, easily integrated tech to those smallholders to make sure this agri-tech revolution really addresses global food security for everyone and doesn't just optimize profits for the biggest players?
See you all in the next Pro Ticker Deep Dive.